What's also cool about this, I've purchased a few courses along the way
Yep.
that I watch and I get really excited about, and then I send it to my team, and I'm like, hey, you guys watch this. It's a 5-course or a 5-class course, and dig into it because it's really helpful. So these are all digital form, which means you can just send these links to your team members and hopefully just duplicate that process of training in an online way, which hopefully will speed up the process of your training and your coaching and kind of your continuing ed situation in your church. So
this changes everything. Our eyes are on you as you show us how to live and love like you. This is a call for all to know. This changes everything.
hello, everybody, and welcome to Red River Leadership Friday live Q&A. We should add a few more words onto that because I don't think it's quite long enough.
Friday Live Q&A.
Friday live. So
With
thank
Red
you-
River Leadership.
Yeah, well, all we're doing then is just switching the words around, but
Oh, okay.
it's still the same length.
Yep.
Red River Leadership.
Exciting Friday.
Exciting Friday. Exciting Fridays.
We're
If
together.
you have better ideas, let us know. Comment below.
Yes.
We are together.
We are
man.
together. This is weird.
This
it's
is
like
weird.
we actually know each other
I
in
know.
real life.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure
Yeah.
how to interact.
It's been a long time.
I know.
I know. Real live together.
So Nolan is here in Moorhead today at the Good Shepherd Studio, where my home base is, and we thought, hey, this would be super fun. Let's go live and do a Friday Red River Q&A, not on Zoom. Usually I'm staring at my screen at you, and
Right.
now you're
yeah,
over
it's
here.
such a you look so different
Thank you.
in person.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I just assumed that was a positive difference.
I don't know that it was. It was
Oh,
yeah.
oh, boy.
But yeah, we're together. It's really good.
Well, hey, we want to dig right into a couple things that are on our minds, on our hearts today. We are super excited. If you've been kind of tuning in over the last few weeks, or if you're on our email list, you have heard about our Red River Worship Leadership School that's online, and we are just pumped about that.
Yeah, we're super excited. And one of the biggest reasons that we're doing this, John and I both, we've worked together for many years now, and so as we had been working together, prior to us working together, there were just things that we needed to know. There were things that we needed to learn, and I don't know about you, John. You'll have to tell me, but.
Yeah.
For me, it was always I would YouTube, I would find churches kind of that looked a lot different, but would teach me kind of the skills. I would go to conferences for other things and take in all these different ideas and try and mold them into what we were doing here in Moorhead or in Alexandria. And it was kind of because of that, it was from that, when we were at conferences where we'd come back and we'd have all these ideas, we'd be jacked from worship, from all these things that we've been learning. There was we need to put together information. We need to help people in our region. We need to help people kind of who look and sound and feel like us.
Yeah, no, I get it. It's hard to explain. I think it's taking it and putting it in our context and putting it into our unique settings that we figured out the hard way, and we wanted to make that easier for more people moving forward.
How many hours would you say that you've spent learning things in the
Oh,
last
my goodness.
15 years?
I used to tell people that I'm a proud student of YouTube University.
Yep.
And
Got my
Google,
degree.
Google University.
Yes.
Oh man, I
Yes.
totally do.
I got 17 degrees.
Well, a lot of that along the way was just because I picked up marketing as kind of a side hustle, and that was really fun to figure things out and to kind of go down that path for a while. And I think it added value to my position here at church. It helped me add value to Good Shepherd's searchability online and make sure that our online presence was getting better and always improving. But through that process, I just would Google all the time. And I mean, how many times have we, we're sitting here talking about something or brainstorming something, we just pull up our phone, start Googling it, looking it up, getting ideas. And often those solutions that we do find in that process are from a much bigger church or a different denomination something, it comes from a place
South
where
of us.
south of
Yes,
us ultimately. Well, north of there's some Canada's
north of
got
us,
some great
yeah,
stuff too.
yeah, absolutely.
But for a lot of it, it was going, all right, how do we take this now and teach it in our context?
Yeah.
And what we mean by that right now is we're both in Lutheran churches. So how do we kind of take that information from other denominations and teach it
Upper Midwest
in practical ways?
Both of our churches are kind of big for our context, but
Yeah.
for the rest of the world, kind of medium to small churches. Both of our hearts are in the rural church. Like we just love to
Yeah.
work on churches that we grew up in.
Right.
Kind of that experience, but I would say that yes, we both have many degrees from YouTube and Google, but if you had something that was very direct, was streamlined, that was cheap, that kind of told you exactly what you needed to know, and
Right.
didn't have any fluff to it, would you have done that last year, 3
Oh,
years
yeah.
ago, 5 years ago?
I think so.
Yeah.
Like, totally. I was hungry for it. I was looking for it.
Right, and we
It
just
didn't-
couldn't
it
ever
just
find
didn't
that.
exist.
And so that is why we are here today.
Yeah.
That is why we're working on these classes, and that's why we're working on our ministry school, is because we put it all together for you. We put it in a package that makes sense. It's accessible. It makes sense for your context. Contacts.
Context.
It makes sense for your context, so that we can help you along the way. So you don't have to spend hours and hours and hours on YouTube and Google. You don't have to spend money on this class and that class with things and people and ideas that don't quite look like yours. Just a straight through, this is how you use this. We use the word essentials, and for beginners and those kinds of things where we dig in right away.
So we have 2 courses coming out this month here in July. And then every month after that, we're going to release a new course. And so you can get access to the individual courses, and down the road, as we build out 7, 8, 10 courses, and then more after that for the life of this thing, we're gonna continue to add value to that platform as much as we can. So we're going to need your feedback along the way. Let us know what your thoughts are. What are some programs you want us to dig into in course form to get access to you, so that way you can be adding value to your team. What's also cool about this, I've purchased a few courses along the way that I watch and I get really excited about, and then I send it to my team and I'm like, hey, you guys watch this. It's a 5 course or a 5 class course. And dig into it because it's really helpful. So these are all digital form, which means you can just send these links to your team members and hopefully just duplicate that process of training in an online way, which hopefully will speed up the process of your training and your coaching and kind of your continuing ed situation in your church. So we want to add value. We want to be helpful. And just to speak to a couple of the first 2 that we're putting out, we've talked a lot about where do we head first, which courses do we make first, and 2 of them just kept rising to the top. Two different programs that were completely game changers for me as a worship director. And I've talked to a lot of worship pastors and just other music staff from other churches, tech directors. So this isn't just a worship, these aren't just worship programs necessarily. They affect your admin, your secretary, your office work, all of your preparation and behind the scenes work can be simplified, and you can save hours of time planning and preparing if you use one or both of these programs. So that's why we chose to do ProPresenter Essentials course as our first one, or second one. We don't have an order. We're doing them both at the same time. And then Planning Center Online Essentials course. Planning Center ProPresenter were completely game changers. As I was digging into being a worship director for the first time, I called around a lot of churches and said, how are you doing that visual thing where you do this and that? Like, your live stream looks really cool. And this was 7, 8 years ago. And they're like, oh, ProPresenter, you got to use ProPresenter. And I'm like, all right, but I've heard of Proclaim. I've heard of PowerPoint is what we were using at the time. I'd heard of Easy Worship. I'd heard of all these other ones. What makes it better? And they just said, well, the people who use Proclaim and Easy Worship, some of the other ones, are trying to get the Pro Presenter. They're kind of saving up the
Yeah.
dollars for it, or whatever the
Yeah.
case was. For whatever reason, they went a different direction right away, but they're trying to get to Pro Presenter.
They hadn't heard of it soon
Exactly.
enough.
So we dig into that program. If you're brand new to it, it's a great course. If you've never used it before, it's a great course because it'll just give you a nice walkthrough of what it's capable of. If you have used it for years and you want to dig in and start using more of the features and the functionality to bring your worship visuals, your projection on your screens, or your live feed presentation to the next level, this course is for you too.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, and like you said, it just streamlines everything for everybody, right?
Yeah.
Like that's like John said, it's been the two biggest game changers for me and our ministry too. And I just love how you touched on this earlier, John, on how it's not just for you. Like, yeah, I can learn things, but until my team learns things,
Yeah.
it just really doesn't make a big difference. But the ability to share these videos, to share these courses with your team, so you can all rise together.
Yeah.
That's really the biggest thing. Like anytime I would do something myself, it's like, yeah, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I'm jacked for these things. But anytime that I could include my team, that was really when the big changes happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And one thing too, I just want to name, you maybe have never taken an online course before. I was new to it.
Good.
I
Yeah.
don't know, 6, 7, 8 years ago, I suppose, and tried it and was like, oh, that's cool. And I remember one of the first ones, I think we did it together. I'm forgetting the name of it now, but the worship pastor that was in there training, I felt very like
Todd
one-on-one.
Fields.
Yeah, Fields. I felt very one-on-one with him,
Worship
as
rocket.
if we were just having a conversation. And it was a really cool online but intimate experience where I'm like, he's taking things slow. He's talking through how and why, a certain thing happens. And he had a whole series out, multiple different series out at the time. So that's kind of what drove us this direction. And we've taken a lot of courses since then, but I remember that being kind of my starting point, going, oh, this is great. And I sent it to our whole team. I probably sent it to you, and and we were trying to figure it out. But that's a big reason why we're doing it and how we are doing it. So every course that you are going to get from Red River Worship Leadership School is going to be either John, myself, or no, sorry, I was looking at the camera when I was pointing at you. Either John or Nolan.
Yeah.
But either myself or Nolan walking you through it specifically.
Yep, step by step.
Step by step, sharing our screen so you can see. So it's as if we're together, wherever you're at, walking through.
Right there in the room with you.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty neat, and you can do it whenever you want. You can start it, stop it as you come and go. You can log back in anytime. All of the courses are lifetime access. So if you purchase today, you'll have access forever.
I think
And for us, sorry, hold your thought.
Yep.
One thing I want to touch really quick for us, why I think the lifetime access is so cool, is that we can go in and update those courses along the way. So if a new feature comes out of Pro Presenter or Planning Center, you can always turn to Red River's training and know that it's going to be up to date or really close. I mean, we're going to do our best, obviously, to keep it up to date along the way. But just knowing that you kind of have an evolving training session at your fingertips at any time.
Yeah, because we're going to be using it.
Yes.
They are game changers for us,
Yeah.
and we'll never go without them.
Yeah.
No, I was just going to touch on the fact that, and we say this in our website, we say this in our videos all the time, but ultimately what we want to do is we want to be an extension of your team. We want to help train you. So these videos is like we're right in the room with you. We're right on the computer with you, walking you through this. Because both of us are we have a good amount of resources. We have access to things. We have a little bit of money behind us, so that we can learn and do these different things. But we understand for a lot of churches that's not how it looks. That's not how it feels. And so to have a full-time worship arts director, to have a full-time worship leader, to have a full-time tech director is just not really a reality for so many churches right now.
Yeah.
And so we just want to be an extension of your team, to learn what we've learned, to learn through the mistakes that we've had to learn through,
Seriously.
to get through all the courses and all the learning and all the trial and error and all those different things. We want to give you the experience that we've had over the last, between us, 25 years, 30 years.
The moment this thing was born, we were doing a concert in a small town And I remember one of the staff people came up and said, "How are you doing?" I do not remember what the specific was, but how are you doing that? And
Is
I
this
remember
what
Nolan and I
worship
like
looks
just,
like all the time?
Yeah, is this-
like
is
that was
this-
such
is
a
this
crazy
normal?
question. Yes.
And we
yes,
were like,
that's it.
we need to. How do we do that? How do we duplicate this? How do we train? How do we coach? How do we help? And not just when we're at your church and on site. Like, of course we will. We always will. If our band's playing a concert at your church, or if we're in the area, whatever, you can call whenever you want. But it became more of this is a longer term, bigger plan that we need to help provide a solution for. So we want to be helpful at the end of the day, and we think it's going to be great. The second course that we're going to come out with, Planning Center Online. Game changer is what I keep saying about both of these systems.
It is. It really is. Yeah.
They were huge. I remember I called I think it was Bethel in Fargo, one of the bigger churches, or maybe it was even Hope Lutheran, I don't remember. But was talking to one of the guys, and I just said, "How are you like getting all your chord charts in line,
Right,
and like how are
streamlining
you
all this.
like are you emailing all your PDFs to people every week?" And like I was like, I am spending so much time making copies and texting and trying to scan copies into this system to be able to email out to the team on the Thursday or Wednesday before, or whatever it was. And I was just getting tired of that. Like, that was just hard.
Yep.
And I was getting tired
So many
and dropping the
hours.
ball, and things would fall between the cracks.
So
and
many
then
trees.
This guy had to cancel, so then I'm texting all of it again to this
Yeah.
other guy now. And so I was talking to one of these guys, and they said, "Dude, Planning Center Online, like, you have to be using Planning Center Online, or we call it PCO." And I'm like, "What's Planning Center?" And he just said, "It's a game changer." So we dove into it. I did a ton of research right away. What's nice is they have a free account to get you started, so you cannot go wrong. You're not making a big investment at all.
Right.
You can start the program, start kind of building in your worship planning resources into the system. And this is all what the course is about: how to get started, how to get things streamlined and organized, kind of our recommended workflows in the process, how to be efficient in your workflows, things that we've learned over the years, like, oh, I wish I would have done it like that for the last 2 years, but I didn't know you could do that until, whatever. So there's tips and tricks and things we've just learned that are going to save you a ton of time in your worship planning.
Yeah, and I would say even before I took my job in Alexandria, that I was here working with volunteers. I was working on hosts, and I was working on greeters, and I was working on parking lot attendants, and I was working on all those things. And you know what, John? I use Planning Center for that too.
Yeah.
And so now we use that for everything: our hosts,
Ushers.
our greeters, our ushers, our
Right.
communion assistants,
Right.
the tech team, the radio broadcast people, the pastors. Like, everything is done in this central hub called Planning Center Online.
Yeah.
And so it really is a game changer, not even just for your music teams, but for everybody. It's
Right.
just, it really makes a huge difference.
Right.
And it's super easy to learn too. Like, that's
It is.
that's the thing.
Very intuitive.
That for volunteers, like, on the back end, what we do is a little bit more work, right? But for people who just want to show up and help and be God's hands and feet, it's like, I can say yes or no, and I can, block these things out. So
Right.
there's just a lot of great things about
There's
that.
helpful features for your team, for your volunteers, and there's helpful features for you as staff members and people behind the planning of it. When you're there's just so many areas I want to like dig into
Yeah.
right now, but that's like the whole
That's
point of
the
the course.
course,
Is that
John.
there's so
That's
many
the
things,
course.
and it's all right on your phone.
Yes.
You know, if on a Friday afternoon I'm like, oh, this person had to cancel, so I need to get another bass player in, like, it happens within 10 seconds on my phone
Tells you
that I can drop it in, shoot it out. It sends a notification to that other bass player. He can accept, decline, and then he has full access to all the plans. Like, in 10 seconds,
Yeah.
it does that.
Yeah.
So I just can't stress enough like why we picked Planning Center
Yeah.
as one of the courses. And I can't stress enough for you to check out that course. Do your research on both of these platforms, ProPresenter, Planning Center. We speak from experience, but we totally will always encourage you to do your own research along the
Absolutely.
way. Let us know
Yeah.
if you have specific questions. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, and other than that, we've got some exciting guests coming up. We're going to be bringing in some of our friends who are doing this doing this worship thing, doing this tech thing. So we're excited to welcome our friends in the next few weeks.
Yes,
Yeah,
we've
you'll
got
have to stay
worship
tuned.
people, musicians, tech people, pastors.
Yeah.
We're really excited. And if you are watching this from wherever you're at and have any questions or have people that you'd love to see have a conversation with us, please shoot us a message anytime. We'd love to hear from
We are
you.
here
and-
for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, cool.
And if you didn't watch, Tim Jaycox last week was on talking about some of his experiences and things that he's learned
Yeah.
along the way and some of the real heart matters for him and the reasons why he does what he does. It was awesome
such a good week.
conversation.
Yep.
I loved it.
Yeah,
I
it was
left
so good.
just fulfilled. It was
Yeah,
one of those
such
like,
a good
oh,
dude.
man,
So talented.
good reminders. And,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyways.
Well, cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Red River Leadership, where you've got questions and we've got sometimes answers.
Sometimes the answer, we try.
Yeah.
We try. I love the tape. It's good.
Yeah, I know.
it. But I'm also like, I don't know. I said the answers at
Yeah.
all. So I mean, yes, I do as I Google it.
Yeah. Where you've got questions and we've got answers. Where you've got questions and we've got answers.
God bless you guys. Thanks
Bye.
for watching. Bye-bye.